Today I want you to tune in to the power of persistence. Let's get it.
Yeah. I'm inspired. I'm inspired.
Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumit Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today we're talking about the power of persistence. Now, a lot of these thoughts are me reflecting on the Master Key system, and I've started to notice, man, that persistence has such a powerful effect because we're just taking this scattered consciousness and we're just, having this single localized focus, right? This kind of effect of just like a laser beam. And I think that a lot of people are missing that from their thoughts. Their thoughts tend to be very scattered, kind of like a learned response or like a background noise or like a hue in the distance, but not really feeling that intentional, voluntary ability to course correct and to let go with a purpose, with an intention, right? A lot of people are just like, I'll let time handle it. Time will heal all things. Yes, that's true, time will heal all things, but wouldn't you rather make use of your time to heal and apply the healing modalities and almost use the oars of your boat to make sure that you're moving forward and you're moving forward in the right direction, right? I think for a lot of people, they have an internal GPS, but they don't have that X marks the spot, and they're continuously kind of drifting around searching for that X. Listen, once you know what your X point is, right, your treasure map, once you know where the treasure is, you got to keep moving forward towards it. Once you have the momentum, once you have the energy that you're moving toward to it, you can change and course correct. However, the example that Charles F. Haanel, I guess that's how you pronounce his name, right, for the Master Key system. He's giving an example of, like, let's say a sculptor, right, starts sculpting an amazing sculpture. And every 15 minutes or so, he changes his direction. He changes his course correct to what character he's creating. All of a sudden, this piece of rock or clay or whatever he's using is completely abstract and doesn't really make sense. It's vague, right? It's like a nose from someone else, it's like eyes from someone else, and it just does not align together perfectly. But this is what we're doing in our own lives. We're changing our decisions so fast, and we're not just sticking and following through with one single principle or one law in our lives. So how am I able to, make these YouTube videos every single day? And even if, I miss a day, I'll post 2 the next day. How am I able to, do this? Well, I've given myself a very clear goal at a very specific time, okay? A lot of you don't have that. You don't have yourself like a very specific goal at a very specific time. I know after lunch, I'm going to shoot a video somehow. I don't know how I'll do it, but I'm going to do it. If I don't do it in that time, I have a backup, I have a plan B, I have renditions. If I don't do it at this time, I have plan B, C, D, E, F, G. A backup content in the days where I don't make it, and there's always this rendition approach, okay? You've got to understand that persistence is because of affirmation, right? Affirming something. So you got to keep affirming to yourself what your goal is, what your vision is. Some people don't like the word goal, right? I know a lot of clients, they don't like the word goal, so we change the word. What is it? Do you like the word result? Do you like the word wish? Wish fulfilled? Do you like the word intention? Do you like the word, mission? What is it? Let's get to a very clear word that resonates with you so that you can keep moving forward with that, okay? Using this Kaizen approach, using this cumulative, compound interest. Those of you who are interested in, investing or math, you guys know, right? Compound interest, it grows over time. So as we get clearer and clearer to your goal, by the way, this is a flow trigger, okay? Clear goals are flow precondition. As we start doing that, we get clearer, more crystal clear, more clarity as we start brainstorming, right? Think of a process of a jam session or just brainstorming. We start off with these abstract ideas and we just keep talking and seeing things and how they form, and eventually, crystallizing it. Like, for instance, some of these videos, I talk for like, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and they get chunked down a lot of times, right? Because I just let my thoughts free flow. You'll notice this this is why I can do live streams for like, 50 minutes, 45 minutes like this time, right? So as you get really, really clear, crystal clear, specific about your goal over time, making the mistakes, going through trial and error, all the stuff, this is where the flow state kicks in. This is where challenge meets skill, right? You're getting challenged by the task, so it's exciting. It's not boring, right? It's exciting. You're skilled at it, so there's a sense of ease associated with it. You're not like overburdening yourself, right? You're excited, but there's still an ease connected with it. So persistence works in the opposite way, right? So what if you start to persist on a doubt? You're persisting on a doubt. You're persisting on an expectation in your mind. That's just a thought. It just comes up. This person is gonna rub me the wrong way. They're gonna react in this particular way, right? And then the self-fulfilling prophecy now is created in the mind. And slowly, your reticular activating system, your selective focus, is going into that doubt, that expectation. And you eventually end up getting it. So when you're exercising a doubt, in a sense, in your mind, you're strengthening the brain's hardwiring. There's not really such a thing as an overnight success. At least I don't really believe in this idea of an overnight success, right? Because I would say it takes you at least like 2 years, man. At least like 2 years to just get you off the ground running. So some people it takes even longer. I mean, I'm sure you've heard stories of businesses taking like 10 years or so. But in any case, man, you've got to start to understand that we live in such a generation where things happen, instantly. We get instant gratification all the time. But that ability to focus on your purpose, which is long-term, rather than the momentary pleasure, which is very short-term and hedonic, right? So this ability of you to think, the marshmallow experiment, right? The delayed gratification, alongside the understanding that there's no such thing as an overnight success, right? Picasso was asked, he was drawing in a little shop on a little napkin or something like this, and gave it to this woman, and she asked how much it was, and he gave a really big figure number, right? And she was shocked. She's like, "What? This took you 5 minutes to do?" And Picasso said, "Excuse me, madam, no. It actually did not take me just 5 minutes. It took me a lifetime." Okay? Now, let that little story resonate with you and start to understand that this man understands the process of mastery, right? He is looking at his entire lifetime in accordance with his skill set, his task, his dharma, his Tao, and he's demonstrating it with his speech. And I know it sounds kind of cocky, whatever it is, right? The story. But try and understand that the masters of the masters, right? First of all, nobody calls themselves a master, right? No one's like, "Hey, I'm a master of this," right? Someone else usually gives you that title. Whoa, they're a master, right? That's why we have people in IMC who are masters, because they have been given that title, Master Pyro, Master Myself. That is mastery, because they've dedicated their lives to something. So the thing is, all this stuff is below the iceberg. All this stuff is, we're seeing the tip of the mountain, but are we really seeing the climb? Right? What's happening behind the scenes? We see the successful person with a kind of, bright, shiny smile and a highlight reel of their life, traveling to all these different parts of the world, showing, posing in this way. But are we really seeing that his car was towed last week? Are we really seeing the argument that he got with his spouse? Are we really seeing what's going on in the background? No, we're not. So I don't want to get you guys to paint an unrealistic picture of success, because it takes a lot, man. Success takes a lot. It takes a lot of persistence. It takes practice. It takes repetition. And if you're still fooling yourself into this magic pill thinking that it's going to happen overnight, you're actually creating a barricade or a blockage in your own mind. It does take hard work. I had this negativity against the word hard work, and so I changed it to solid work. Hard work just means solid, like a rock, right? So even just changing your words in accordance to what your goal or end result might be will give you such a different kind of energy and a different momentum about you, which will keep you in consistency, focused, persistent. So understand somewhat the concept of Carl Jung, and he says that we have a collective unconscious, okay? So that means, if this is true, that can also mean that our subconscious minds are linked together. You have the same subconscious reservoir of some big celebrity, right? In a sense. So all our minds are somewhat connected to this hive mind, which is, again, it's impersonal. It's where we come up with abstract concepts or archetypes. This is where we get archetypes as well, right? So starting to understand that, Charles F. Hannell, he says that we're all connected to this giant subconscious mind. That means we're also connected to the universe of infinite mental concepts and ideas. We can get ideas at any time, but you just have to tap in. You just have to allow yourself to stay persistent and focused with that vision. So somehow you're creating this, this mental mandala, this mental universe in some way where you're finding reasoning, you're having different thought experimentations, ideas that are forming. You're doing it, you're putting out into the physical world in some way. A lot of people, you're not doing that, right? You have all of these great ideas, but they're not being actualized. You have to actualize your ideas, speak about them, teach people about them, or write it down. Make videos. What good is the wisdom if it's just sitting up there in your brain? This is what would happen to me when I would act in all these plays in high school. I kind of had fun with it, and I'd be persistent to show up in rehearsals. And I remember certain times in rehearsal and backstage, I would purposefully make it more fun for me by, joking with the other actors, by allowing myself to immerse myself and get so involved in that process. And I noticed there was kind of a gift in participation, in being the first one to raise your hand or to do or try an exercise. There's something about that resistance that showed up, and I think Elias said something in class yesterday which was very powerful. He said that the resistance is the reason, right? Similar to how Carl Jung says the fear is your next task. You feel that hesitation, feel that resistance, make that your reason to take the action anyway. Just like food is absorbed by the body, the mind absorbs the thought. If you give it more attention, it's feeding the hunger of the mind. The more you give that thought attention, the more life and beingness that you're giving it. The more vitality, more energy you're putting into it. Yes, here we go. Beingness is space regardless of energy and matter. Doingness requires both space and matter. And havingness requires space and energy, okay? Now, I really want you to think about this. So, doingness requires both space and matter. Let the thought dwell upon the object that you want, the object of your desire, the thing that you're trying to do or accomplish. And you want to be completely identified with it, okay? But also keep your own identity at the same time, in a sense. You don't want to lose it completely, because losing yourself completely, in the moment, will again take you off to such a vast imaginative flow that you'll lose your sense of self and you disconnect from the presence, in a sense. You'll float off into the void. So it's important to still have some object of holding yourself in a container, in a space, and boundaries and safety and rules. And this is why we understand that flow state is almost living by design, in a sense. We design our experiences so we can tap in. And then we can freely tap in and find that freestyle ability in the moments, because we have that safety, because we have that structure, because we have that container. The same thing with our texting system, right? We have a structure, we have training wheels, but then after a while you can improvise within those constraints. The same thing with your mind. Give it a boundary, give it a constraint, give it an idea, and understand that, it's your ability to create space that creates your beingness. Okay? You can create space that creates your beingness, that gives you your character, that gives you your presence. And the I, or the I am, whenever you say I, or he, she says, you're always playing into the egoic mind. So giving all your time, focus, energy into one specific goal is going to be a lot better than scattering it into different directions. At the same time, if you're getting different ideas or playing with different characters in the mind, I don't want you to get overwhelmed. Like, oh, I'm multitasking. I always reframe the multitasking in my mind as I'm processing different datums. I'm processing different information. Charles F. Hennell also says thought combined with love is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. So if you really love something or you love the thing that you're doing, you're going to be a lot more persistent in it. Okay, you're going to enjoy it more, therefore giving you more fuel, more propellant. Because imagine, like, falling in love with someone else. How much attention does that take away from you doing your work and stuff, right? You're thinking about them all the time. Okay, so it's now time to transmute your love towards a direction that you truly prefer and not be emotionally overwhelmed by it. You see, this is why, a lot of times people with a lot of intellect, they can actually create those boundaries so they don't let their emotions kind of control them. More emotionally involved people as well, they let their emotions take them and just kind of possess them in a sense, rather than them setting the constraints on it. Because that's really what self-regulation is. You're gaining more of a skill set and an intellect to handle the emotions. We're getting to understand them better, right? We're familiarizing ourselves with it. But remember, familiarity breeds contempt at times. So it's important to understand your emotions from different layers. Your ability to think is your ability to act with the universal mind, as Charles says. The only difference is people have it to varying degrees. So all your personality is just a result of your way of thinking, right? You're just a way of thinking about things, your habits, your peculiarities, your character traits, right? All this kind of stuff is just because of your thinking pattern, thinking style. Your attitude comes through with your thoughts, right? Thoughts and feelings, a powerful combo, right? In all these Neville Goddard or manifestation texts, you hear this over and over again. It's true. This is the tech. This is the internal tech. But understand that these things have nothing to do with the real I am, the real observer. Okay, the absolute. It's not just the thought, it's the quality of thought that you entertain. Thought forming with an object, merging slowly, so the painter becomes the painting, the dancer becomes the performance itself. There's a merging of being and doing, action and awareness. This is where you slowly tap in, and this is also what Charles F. Hennell is saying through this book. I'm going to delve way deeper into this, but I'm just giving this idea of persistence and how important it really is to show up each day and keep doing your thing and keep putting your thoughts onto that end result or that end goal, beginning with the end in mind. We understand this, but really living it and starting to embody it, and not just thinking about all these fast philosophical or old school kind of manifestation texts, but actually putting it into practice each day and doing it and living through it. Okay. By the way, that doingness, beingness, havingness was through, LRH, in terms of, the book is called 8008, okay? So very powerful stuff. This is what I'm tapping into. I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Let's get it to the Upward Spiral Gang.